Hi, welcome back, you beautiful souls. In the last episode, we had Izuku finishing up his training, and he just learned how to actually properly use his healing ability. And mind you, this is still weaker than Dende's healing ability. It's like a step down from Dende's, from DBZ. And Izuku over. Hold on. Sorry about that. Um, Izuku is still he's gotten a little bit of a control over his flight and everything, and All Might offered him one for all. And Izuku told All Might that he would only accept the Quirk if he passes the UA entrance exam, so that he can prove to himself that he deserves the power. And this kind of makes All Might in the back of his head say that makes you perfect for the Quirk. You don't want the power, but you would use it. But you would use it to defend people and to be a hero. It's kind of how All Might's thinking about this. So we cut to the day of the entrance exam. Same thing happens until Deku trips. Before Uraka can help Deku, an ice structure forms in the shape of a hand and catches Deku. And you can just hear Izuku hears a familiar voice. He's like, and it's a girl's voice. Izu, it'd be bad if you tripped. And Izuku's like, oh, Shota, I thought you were doing a recommendation route. And it's like, yeah, Dad's not too happy with me about this. I basically blew up on him after, we talked. He's talking about, some stupid Quirk marriage that he arranged, and I told him that I don't want it. And she kind of stops instantly, and she's like, oh, crap, I just said something too much. And she's like, and I told him, he's like, well, if you want to damn lay out my life, I'm gonna get into you in my own way. And well, Dad's he's a little pissed off at me right now. And the brown-haired girl, before she could use her quirk on the boy that was tripping, thinks to herself, it's like, oh, those two are together? Question mark. And from here on in, things progress like normal. Shoto will still score top of her class, and because of the extra time Izuku has had to actually study and not be pushing his body, he will fare a little bit better on the exam. I would say he doesn't get the bare minimum pass because he didn't have a lot of time to study in canon because of his training regiment. But I would say he gets the average score that is of people passing. And then things progress to where the whole and you stop causing a scene. You're distracting others. Doesn't really happen because Nizuku's just he's sitting there with his eyes closed, nodding his head at every single time President Mike says something. But Ida still interrupts about the 0-pointer, and Izuku's like, huh, that sounds like it'll be fun. Kind of a little bit of a Goku personality is Izuku has. He doesn't really like fighting, but when he does, he wants a good fight. He doesn't want he doesn't want a crappy fight. He doesn't want something that's to where he won't be able to improve himself. He wants all of his fights, he wants to be able to learn something from them. And that's just how Deku is in this one. So they get to the areas, and Katsuki and him are going to the buses that will take them to their testing ground. And Izuku's like, hey, Kachan, I ran into that girl I told you about. And Katsuki's like, oh, the hot one. And Izuku kind of blushes a little bit, and he's like, no, no. As he punches Katsuki in like the shoulder a little bit, and he's like, Zoo, we're about to take a test. Damn it, Deku, we're about to take a test. You don't need to be hurting me. And Izuku's like, oh, I'm sorry. And the boy with glasses kind of sees Izuku like use his quirk on like this other person, and he thinks about it, and then he hears the blonde-haired boy is like, thanks, man. Okay, let's get this done with. And Deku, if you fail, I'm gonna kill you. Which shocks Tenya. He's like, he thinks, does this kid even belong here? He just said he's gonna kill someone. And he's like, no, I can't focus on that right now. I've got to focus on getting points. I've got to pass. I've got to prove the Ida family name. So they get to like what I like to call the dugout, like the prep area. And Izuku's looking around, and he sees Shota in the dugout. He starts to walk over to her, and Tenya stops, and Tenya's like, you shouldn't interrupt someone that's trying to focus. And Izuku's like, but we know each other. And before Ida could say something else, like Shota says, oh, hey, Izu, you're in the same area. And Deku, does, the whole, face, see? We know each other. And Mizuki, says, hey, Shota, you seem to be focused, you seem to be focused too much. Relax a little bit. And Shota replies, yeah, and you should take your own advice, Izu. And Mizuki puts his hand behind his head and does, his iconic, ha ha ha, yeah, thing. And Shota, then says, hey, Izu, how about a bet? What bet? The loser has to do one thing the winner asks. Anything? He says, Izuku, and Shota says, well, within reason, of course. And so, before they say one with the most points wins. And a lot of you can be like, oh, poor Shota. And Izuku, is grinning. And so Shota lives, and Tenya's like, whoa, these two really are, wow, they're competitive. They're making a bet on who's going to get the most points. And he just felt like everyone in the prep area starts feeling this pressure emanating from Izuku. And Shota, she kind of smiles and smirks, and she's like, you're not gonna hold back in this, are you? And Izuku's like, what kind of fun would that be? Me and you both know if I went full force, this would be over in a matter of minutes. Shota's like, yeah, probably shouldn't have. Music is kind of bops on her head. It's like, are you kidding? I'm not that strong. You've gotten a lot stronger, I can tell. As he's pointing to her hands, and she's rotating icicles around in her palm, while on the other hand producing a small fireball. And she's like, yeah. And as soon as Prez Mike says go, the two of them are still standing there kind of working out the details of the bed. And then they just hear, Ida says, what are you two doing? Didn't you hear the instructor? He said go! And both Izuku and Shota kind of look up, and they're like, oh yeah! And Shota does the Shoto thing where he skates on ice, and she's moving really fast. And robots come up to her. She takes robots out left and right with icicles protruding from one hand, and then incinerating others with their other hand. And then you just see Izuku like jump up and then begin to fly, and he's just running right through robots left and right. And Izuku and Shota are about like it's getting close, and they start feeling trembles, and they start moving away from it. But then all of a sudden, Ida looks back. He feels like two wind pressures go by him, and Ida's standing there looking. Like, he turns around to see a scene of this ice wall encasing, like this ice bubble encasing a certain area, and then the boy that was flying, like, he sees him like destroy the zero pointer. And in Izuku's mind, we cut to Izuku's mind, and it's like, no, I've got to do it. I don't have enough power. I don't have enough power. And in Shoto's mind, she's like, crap. I can't let someone get hurt. That's not what a hero will do. So they both take off. And I said above it, it's more like a shield. And as like Shota lands next to the girl, like Izuku like catches the foot that was about to come down on the two girls, and he pushes back. But when he pushes back, he does like a kick to it, and everyone just sees this bright light come from his foot, and half the robot is incinerated along with the building and the testing area's wall. And there's a crater in the earth that goes for a good half mile. And everyone is just stunned. And Izuku's just standing there. And while Shota is picking up the rubble with her ice quirk, kind of creating like two ice pillars that kind of push the rock up so that they can come over. And Izuku's just standing there looking at this crater in like shock, and then he goes to collapse, but Shota like catches him, and Izuku like catches his breath, and he's like, oh, wait a minute, the girl, hey, are you okay? And the girl like says, ow, I think I sprained my ankle. And Izuku's like hand begins to glow, and a ball of white light like forms in his hand, and he touches her ankle, and she's like, what are you doing? And Shota says, well, knowing this knucklehead, he's probably thinking about using the last of his energy to help heal you. And as soon as like he touches her ankle, it's healed, and she's like, says thank you, but then she notices that he passed out. So later that day, Izuku wakes up, and Shoto's kind of sitting there, and she's kind of looking at him. And Izuku's like, what? And she's kind of gritting. She's like, you couldn't help yourself, could you? And Izuku's like, well, what do you mean? And he's like, you had to use the last bit of your stamina to heal someone that wasn't seriously injured. You're always trying to help other people. It's kind of what I like about you. As she like gets up, and she's like, well, I'll see you next weekend after we get our results to clarify that bet we have, remember? And Izuku smiles at her, and it's like, yeah. And so, as Izuku's leaving, he's tapped on the shoulder, and All Might is like there, and he's like, can we speak, young man? And Izuku's like, yeah, like, what's up, All Might? And All Might's like, well, I'm not 100% sure. We still have to calculate your points and everything, but I can say this: you did indeed pass, and you will be going to UA. Now, the class that you're in is determined on the points that you'll receive, and I'll visit your house in a couple of days once we get it calculated. And Izuku's like, yeah, and another thing, All Might, if I'm not in 1A, you should give it to that guy that you mentioned before. That other candidate that you mentioned. And All Might begins to laugh. He's like, okay, Midori, you should probably get going. I just wanted to let you know so you can prep your mom, because I'm fairly certain you haven't told her who I am yet. And Izuku's like, you got that, didn't you? And All Might's like, yeah. So Izuku, thanks All Might, and he's leaving and everything. And he sees Endeavor, kind of talking with Shoto, and he kind of tries to avoid. But then, Endeavor, notices him and, gives him a smirk. And Izuku, goes, boom, and, books it out of there. And yes, Izuku does get a slight Zenkai from this because he overexerted his body. See, Izuku is at a point to where not a lot can actually hurt him to where he would get a significant Zenkai boost. He pretty much has to, literally get wounded to the point where it can be potentially, fatal or severe. Scratches and stuff just don't give him that, much of a boost anymore. Because he's kind of plateauing at a point. Which will change in the future. So, a few days pass, and the doorbell rings. And Inko, answers the door, and she's like, Izuku, Izuku comes down, and he's like, oh, All Might, Sensei, I thought you weren't going to be here until tomorrow. Inko looks at her son, and then at All Might, and then she's like, oh, come in, All Might. And then she's like, Izuku, how do you know All Might? Then Izuku looks down and he's like, I'm sorry, Mom, but... And this is when All Might pipes up. He's like, oh, Miss Midoriya, that's a little bit on me. I've been giving the hero that was giving them some training, before he took the exam, was me. I also helped out his friend, young Bakugo. Inko's like, really? And you didn't? And she turns to Izuku, and he didn't think I should know about this? And Izuku, he's like, Mom, that's not the reason. I wanted to tell you, but I promised All Might, me and Kachan promised All Might that we wouldn't tell anyone who was training us. So then All Might explains to Izuku that he passed, and his points. I would say All Might explained to Izuku that he got third highest, and Izuku's like, crap, who beat me? Did they beat me? Who beat me? And he's like, well, the only people that could potentially beat me would be Kachan or Sho. Crap, hope I would beat Shoto. Come on, please let there be someone else out there that beat me. So Izuku's, and then All Might says, Miss Midoriya, can I borrow young Midoriya here for a few hours? And Izuku's like, yeah, definitely, All Might, but just make sure he gets home before it's dark out. As she looks at Izuku, and Izuku's like, Mom, I'm sorry I didn't tell you sooner, but Thank you. Without you constantly here encouraging me, I wouldn't be here today. Nico, like, gives her son, like, a tearful eyes and, like, hug. And says, just make sure you get home safe, okay, baby? Easy, it's like, Mom, you're embarrassing me. Mike's just thinking in the back of his head, like, from when he was a kid. So Izuku follows All Might as, like, All Might jumps off, and then Izuku begins to fall. So All Might goes to the ground, like, redirects to the ground, jumps back up, and grabs him. And All Might's, like, is asking him, he's like, young Midoriya, what's going on? You should be able to fly properly. And Izuku's like, yeah, I kind of used all my energy up, and it's just been taking a while for me to recover. And All Might looks concerned, and then Izuku's like, it's not like that, All Might. It's just when I overexert myself, it'll take several days for me to recuperate, like, all the energy I expanded. It used to take me a month, but since the training I got from you, it's taking less time for me to recharge. Like, I'm still physically healthy and capable. I can go run for miles, but as far as flight and higher abilities, it's difficult. And then when they land, Izuku, he notices where they're at, and he's like, what are we doing at UA? And then he jumps again, and he lands in the training ground Gamma, which is the area that Izuku was in. And Izuku sees, like, the destruction, and he's like, I'm sorry, I didn't know that was the first time I ever did something like that. And Izuku looks at All Might, and All Might's kind of smiling, and he's like, look at this, young man. You did this even without my quirk. Now, you said if you made it into 1A, you would take my quirk. Well, congratulations, young man. You'll be third in your class in 1A. You didn't do too well on the written exam, but your practical exam numbers are, quite frankly, impressive. There's been very few students that have been able to score over 100 in the past years. And actually, I think the last one was yours truly. And All Might begins to laugh, and Izuku's like, then it dawns on Izuku, and he's like, so you brought me here to pass on your quirk. And All Might's like, if you don't think you're worthy of it, young man, you made it into UA on your own power. Like I told you, I plan on retiring, and in this year, I really want to focus on getting you ready to use the quirk to become the next symbol of peace. I'm getting older, and, well, it's about time for me to pass on the mantle to the next generation, and I want to train. The time I spent with you and young Bakugo made me realize that I have a knack for teaching, actually. I don't know how to explain it, young man, but you two gave me a passion that I long since thought that I didn't have any. I've been so focused on defeating All for One. And, like, All Might quiet side. That's something else. You need not worry about that. And Izuku's like, are you sure, All Might? And All Might's like, yes, I'm sure. So again, young man, will you accept this power? And Izuku says with, like, a straight face, yes, All Might. I would be honored to be your successor. Well then, eat this! As he pulls out a hair and hands it to Izuku. And All Might says, don't try to use your new quirk. Just wait until tomorrow, and I will come by, and we'll come back here, and I'll explain how the quirk works. It should give you a few days, and with the control that you have of your own quirk, it shouldn't only take you a couple of days to get a handle on it, so that we don't have any accidents. And Izuku gets home, and Inko's like, Izu, there was a phone call, and, well, I tried calling you, but you left your cell phone here. And Izuku's like, oh, what? And Izuku's like, I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't think to grab it. And she's like, it's fine, baby. I was a little worried, but I knew you were with All Might, and, well, he is the #1 hero, so I knew you were safe. And Izuku, like, grabs his mom, and he's like, so who called? And she was like, someone named Todoroki was calling, saying that you owe her something or something. And Izuku's like, he face palms, and he's like, no, she won. I wanted to ask her out. And so he calls Shoto up, and they talk, and Mizuki's like, so I take it how many points did you score? And Shoto says, I got 106, second highest. And Mizuki, like, says, Shota hears, like, a loud grumble, and she's like, what is it? And it's like, well, I got 104. And Shota begins to laugh, and she's like, well, that means you owe me one favor, anything within reason. And she's like, meet me here, like in 2 days' time. And Izuku's like thinking, what's going on? And then he hears, and dress up a little bit. And Izuku's like, he's kind of dense, kind of like Goku a little bit, like in certain matters. And he's like, okay. And Izuku's thinking, it's like, what, are we gonna do some training? Well, then I have to train with All Might, with the Quirk. And so the next day, he meets up with All Might outside of UA, and he's greeted by, he goes to meet up with All Might outside of UA, and he's greeted by a little rat animal thing. And he's like, oh, you must be Midoriya. All Might said you would be coming. He's waiting at one of the training grounds, and, well, he asked me to come and get you. He had a few things to prep. And Nezu's like, oh, and you are? Well, you can call me Nezu. And, well, I don't actually have a family name, because, you see, and Nezu's like, you're not human, are you? And Nezu's like, oh, how do you know that? And Nezuko explains his quirk a little bit. And then Nezu's like, and I would say this is, like, during, like, the early morning. And he's like, I'm surprised All Might passed on this quirk to someone. And Nezuko looks at Nezu shocked. And he's like, how, what? And Nezu's like, as, like, someone starts walking around, like, the corner, like, someone else starts walking down the hallway. And he's like, I'm one of the few people that know about it. Along with our nurse and his old sidekick. He's like, yeah, like, Night Eye, what happened between those two? I have asked All Might, like, about it, and he kind of avoids the question. Izuku is a little inquisitive about this, and that's just like, well, it's not really my place to say. In any case, this way. And Nezu brings him to the training ground that All Might was setting up some targets and stuff. Because All Might, he's not dumb, and with him having 10 months of where he's actually training someone, actually, like, teaching someone stuff, he has a better concept of how to teach someone. And he's thinking because he saw like what happened, and he's like, "Oh, young Midoriya, Nezu, thank you for bringing the young man to me. I'm sorry I had to take you away from your principal duties." And it's like, "Oh my, it's fine. You asked me to make sure your successor gets here." And All Might just looks at Nez and is like, "How did you?" And then All Might begins to laugh, and Nez is like, "You forget, Toshinori. I know you very well, and after a little bit of a conversation with Izuku, I kind of put two and two together. Well, you two have fun, and Toshinori, make sure the boy doesn't break himself. We recovery girl, she still has a lot to do in the nurse's office, with the nature of our school and everything." And All Might laughs, like, "Yes, so that won't be an issue, Mr. Nezu." And then Nezu says, "And another thing, young man, please try not to destroy more of the school property." And Izuku like looks down and he's like, kind of like smally, and it's like, I'm sorry." And Nezu's like, "No problem. From what I've been able to gather, that was the first time you manifested that power." And Izuku's like, "Yeah, I didn't know. It was just all instinct that it happened." So the day progresses, and people can occasionally hear like a boom because All Might had like described to Izuku how to use the quirk, and then Izuku's like, "Don't you mean like throughout my entire body and not just in one spot?" And All Might's like, "Huh, yes, young man. Sorry about that." And Izuku's like, "It's fine, All Might. It's just, if I didn't have my quirk, I probably wouldn't have understood it that well." So it takes Izuku like most of the day to get a hold of the One for All power. And during like the little bouts that they have, All Might is he's saying, "Why are you turning it off and on? Like, you should keep it on and then use the different percentage." And Izuku's like, "Yeah, I've been switching it on and off, switching between my quirk and One for All, and I don't know what to say, All Might, but I don't, like, something's weird. Like, you said all for one, like One for All is a quirk enhancer. Well, my quirk doesn't feel any stronger." Always like, "Oh, it would take that long." And then an alarm goes off on Izuku's phone, and All Might's like, "What's that about, young man?" And Izuku says, "Well, I only have a couple of more hours before I have to get home. I kind of have to meet up with someone tomorrow," which Izuku looks down, and All Might's like, "It's fun, young man. You should keep up with your personal relationships. This is your training. What I want you to do is keep your quirk, One for All on, as long as you can stand, as long as you are awake, and keep it at a minimal percentage." And Izuku thinks about this, and he's like, "Yes." And then Izuku finally asks, like, "So, All Might, what's up with the targets?" And then All Might's like, "You'll be coming here every morning for a couple of hours. We're going to have to train you to control that energy blast, because you said you used all of your energy. We need to work on that." And a couple of hours pass, and Izuku has gotten a grasp on the energy. Like, he can't really produce it, but he understands how he's been able to do it because he produces shockwaves with One for All to the targets. Because All Might says, "Well, I can't really train you to use that power because we don't really know much about it, but I can teach you about One for All, like distance attacks. And maybe that will help you figure things out," is the reasoning behind All Might. So when So we cut to the next day, and Izuku shows up to the predestined spot, and he feels a tap on his shoulder, and he turns around, and Shota's like wearing a dress. And Izuku's like, "So, what's your request?" And Shota looks at him, and she's like, "Go on a date with me." And Izuku's like, "What? Date?" And Shota's like, "Yeah, my dad, he has this prearranged marriage thing, and I told him I'd never do it, and, well, he kind of doesn't like you, and I kind of told him that I was meeting up with someone for a date. I'm sorry, we may be interrupted, but don't get me wrong, it's not like that." And Shota kind of pauses, and she's like, "Well, that's kind of a lie, not entirely." And Izuku looks at her, and she's kind of a little bit red, like in the cheeks. And Izuku's like kind of laughs, and she's like, "What's so funny?" And Izuku's like, "Nothing. I kind of was gonna ask the same thing." And this makes Shota turn even redder. Because she realized that Izuku likes her as more than a friend. And Izuku's like, it's not like that, Shoto. I don't know. Like, I like you, but it's not the same way that I like my mom or Kachan. And, well, I wanted to go on a date to see if there's something there. So they spend the day, and Shota is like happy. They go see a movie, they catch a bite to eat, and Izuku walks like her home. And when Izuku gets to like the door, like they get close, like a block away, they can just hear Endeavor like yelling. It's like, "I can't believe she's going on a date with a boy." And then you hear like another person's voice, like a woman's voice. It's like, "Angie, we've talked about this. When she wants to date, she can date. And you know that boy that she's going out, that she went on a date with, is a good kid. For Christ's sake, she healed her. She even made her scar less noticeable to people." Which then makes Shota like kind of look down. And Izuku lifts her head up and says, "You shouldn't worry about what other people think. Like, I didn't heal your scar to make you look better. I did it because it seemed like the right thing to do." And Shota kind of like hugs Izuku as Izuku walks up, and Endeavor comes out, and he's like, "You, you're always interrupting our life." He catches eyes with his daughter, and she's glaring daggers at him. And then Rick comes out, and she says, "Oh, you must be the young boy that helped my little Shota out a little bit. Like, with her burn marks when she overdid herself." And Izuku, like, introduces himself, and he's like, "Midoriya. My name's Midoriya Izuku. It's nice to meet you, Miss Todoroki. I figured I should walk Shota home, considering it was a date." And then Rei says, "Inji, don't you have something to say?" And Inji's like, "Okay, I'm sorry, young Midoriya, but I can't approve of you two dating without meeting both your parents. How about this weekend, if it's possible, or sometime in the future, we'll have dinner with your parents and you two." And then Izuku's like, "And us!" He hears three voices say, and this makes like Shota turn to Izuku, and she's like, I'll text you later. You should probably get home. Mom's probably worried." And then Izuku excuses himself, and she pushes her dad into the door, and she's like, "I can't believe you guys did that. It's so embarrassing." And when Izuku gets home, he explains to his mom, and she's like, "So, Izuku, do you like her?" And Izuku's like, "Yeah, she's strong and she's kind of funny, but a little solo. But once you get to know her, a little rough, but once you get to know her, she's like Gachan. She's a true friend. And, well, I, I don't know. Like, I do like her as more than a friend." And Inko's like, smiles, like, "Well then, baby, I support your decision. But the thing about meeting your father, it might be difficult." So Izuku calls his father up, and Hasashi says, "Shouldn't you be in bed, Izuku?" And Deku is like, "Well, Dad, it's very important. Is it possible that you can come back to Japan?" And then Izuku, like Hasashi's like, "Does it involve that young lady?" One moment, I'm actually going to have to stop recording here on this portion, and then I will record the rest of it. I just realized the time. I've got to shower and get ready for work, and I'll get the little bit rest recorded. All right, you beautiful souls. I will put out part 4.5, which will be titled the Dinner Between Midoriya's and Todoroki's. I'm sorry about the little excerpt before this, but I need to have some things I have to do with the first part of my shift, and I figured I'd at least get this portion of the video out. And I will like, comment, and subscribe, and I will talk to you. I'll see you beautiful souls in a few more over the next hour. The next portion of the video should be out. That being said, I will see you beautiful souls in the next video.